minute. Let's take a break at this point. Let's take a break from the studio at this point and go straight to Big Bazaar, where Rahul Kanwal is with us. And Rahul, give us a sense of what is the mood with regard to Narendra Modi. A year ago, 9 months ago, people in urban India voted in large numbers for Mr. Modi, and the economy was a critical factor in that election. Is there a sense that this is the moment where Mr. Modi has to deliver on their hopes and dreams and expectations?
Well, Rajdeep, the doors of the Big Bazaar have been thrown open just moments before now, and we're at the electronics section of the bazaar, and my colleague Shweta was just pointing out, and Shweta, if you join us, most of the brands that you see here are foreign brands. These are not Indian brands, and therein lies one of the key challenges for the Modi government to try and make their Make in India come alive, where you actually see some of these products being produced in India.
Absolutely, Rahul. Isn't that the irony that we are in Big Bazaar, the great Indian bazaar, and the only Indian brand that we see here is right here, Usha sewing machine. So, over the years, because of various factors, we've seen that domestic manufacturing has come down. We've not been able to provide an ecosystem for Indian brands to come up. And hopefully with Make in India is not only for international brands, it's also for Indian companies, who've shifted manufacturing facilities outside, to come back into the country to build their brands, so that the next time you're here, you do not see only Japanese brands or only Korean brands. You also see Indian brands, and that should be the experience when you're traveling outside as well. Which is, I can't think of one international brand that you can spot in, say, an American supermarket or, in the UK, anywhere. So I think that's going to be the challenge, and hopefully this budget will address that.
Okay, I want to go across to Sriram Khanna as well. Sir, the discussion in the studio was about whether the Modi government has been able to live up to the consumers' expectations from it. They were voting in with huge expectations. In the 9 months that we've seen this government at play, do you believe this is a government of the consumers, or is it shaping up to be a government for the corporates?
See, so far, the sounds that we have heard are mainly directed to the corporates, to making them feel comfortable, to tell them that we'll give you a level playing field, you improve your production and make more stuff in India, which is quite good. But at the end of the day, if improved production, higher production, greater competition don't translate into lower prices, affordable prices and good quality products and services, then the consumers are going to be disappointed. But let me tell you, the socio-economic conditions that UPA has left for India couldn't have been better, irrespective of what political opponents may have been banging Mr. Manmohan Singh with. You have a large middle class whose incomes have grown in the last 20 years, started with the big bang reforms of 1991 budget. That is one budget that will never be repeated in India's history, because that is a budget.
But they're saying this is an opportunity to do another 91.
I am not so sure, because all the big bang reforms that could have been done have been done.
Okay, let me bring in Salonira. She's a partner at Deloitte Top Consultancy. Sriram Khanna says all the big reforms that could have been done have been done. Is that correct, or do you think that the second generation of reforms could truly be upon us?
I think we could still see some more reform. The vision of the Modi government, the Make in India, is in fact a reform in itself. Incentives and policy needs to be framed around that Make in India vision. And we need to see ease in business. Why do companies shy from doing business in India? There are problems associated with manufacturing, tax, getting licenses, approvals, clarity in taxation needs to be brought in. So there's a lot that needs to be done, to encourage and boost industry in India. So I do believe that reforms can still be made within the in the current generation.
What, especially if the goods and services tax is rolled out, or a concrete roadmap is given that the government will move ahead from next year, what are the kind of products that you see around you here in the Big Bazaar that you think could actually end up getting cheaper once the GST is reality?
I would imagine that a lot of products may become cheaper, because what would happen is that today, when there are certain tax costs, because we don't get credits, so that's a slightly complicated term, but just on a simplistic basis, I'm saying that in a GST environment, we should have a credit chain, a tax credit chain, which should move smoothly, so which should ultimately mean that tax costs in a particular product should come down. Today, if you pick up any product, the tax cost within that product is somewhere in the range of 30 to 35%.
How much is it internationally?
It would be in the range of around 20%. So we are at
10% gap for each of these products to actually become cheaper.
Correct, correct. So if we look at that, the cascading, because of the multiple taxes that we have and the lack of credits that exist in the current economy, we think that, you know, with GST coming in, the tax with all credits being available in the chain, prices should come down.
There's also a sense, Shweta, that Finance Minister Jaitley is actually the luckiest finance minister building up to this budget. He's got a full majority, which others didn't have. Do you think all of that will see reflection here at the Big Bazaar at the end of what he's able to announce?
So yes, he has been lucky. Oil prices are... nobody expected oil prices to go down the way they've gone down. And we will see an impact, but not immediately. And again, I'll come back to the Make in India point. As in, if this budget really clarifies policy on that, we will see manufacturing pick up in the country. That would mean that products will get cheaper in the next 2 to 3 years. That's the time frame that we are looking at. And while Mr. Jaitley has a great opportunity to leave an imprint, we have to also remember that he has to follow fiscal discipline, which means that whatever he gives away, he will have to make up for it from some other, from some other tax or some other scheme or whatever. So he cannot just give away something that Mr. Chidambaram did in the 2009 budget. That's when economy was doing very well and social sector spends went up substantially. We cannot see that happen now. So they will have to come out with something that boosts rural demand also, because rural wages have gone down in the last 7 months. So this entire rich and poor divide has only gotten bigger, and that's why, you know, we heard the Prime Minister speak on a very pro-poor government yesterday, because the impression has been that this is the government for the rich, this is the government for the corporates, and they will have to do a very tough balancing act, because you need rural demand to drive growth, you need the middle class to come on board again, you need the middle class to spend again, you need the companies and the corporates to come out and invest and to have faith in the India growth story. Because ironically, what's happened is that even Indian companies are have been very wary about investing in India. So it's a balancing act that he'll have to pull together.
That indeed is a big problem for the finance minister to be able to fix. Some of the trolleys already being filled up. I can see some consumers walking in to the Big Bazaar. So hopefully by the time we come back again, we'll have a bunch of consumers to whom we can chat about what they expect the finance minister to do for their wallet at the end of his budget announcements. Rajdeep, take it away.